5 longtime university friends, Phil, Dom, Hutch, Luke, and Rob, gather at a pub, catching up over drinks and reminiscing about old times. As laughter flows, Rob proposes a hiking trip through the Swedish wilderness as a way to reconnect. The suggestion is met with lighthearted dismissal, the others brushing it off in favor of more comfortable plans. Later that night, as the group gets ready to leave the pub, Luke suggests stopping by a nearby shop to grab a bottle of vodka. Rob agrees and goes in with him. As they talk inside, they notice the cashier slumped behind the counter, clearly shaken. Before they can process what's happening, 2 armed robbers suddenly burst out from the back room. Luke quickly ducks behind a shelf, frozen with fear, while Rob is left standing in the open. The robbers demand Rob's wallet, watch, and wedding ring. Rob gives them the wallet and watch, but refuses to hand over the ring. Still hidden, Luke grips the vodka bottle, ready to intervene, but hesitates. Frozen by fear, he watches helplessly as the robbers assault Rob, beating him to death before his eyes. Six months later, in honor of Rob's original idea, the 4 remaining friends embarked on a hiking trip along the Kungsleden Trail in Sarek National Park, deep in northern Sweden. When Dom injured his knee and began struggling to keep up, Hutch suggested a shortcut, one that cut through a dense, unmarked forest and promised to halve their travel time. But as they ventured deeper into the woods, unsettling signs began to appear. An elk, gutted and strung up in the trees, and strange runes carved into the bark.
Jesus Christ!
As a rainstorm hits, the group seeks shelter in an abandoned cabin. Inside, they find symbols matching those carved into the trees, their eerie presence a reminder of the strange forces at play. Upstairs, Phil stumbles upon a grotesque wooden effigy, an unsettling decapitated human torso with antlers for arms. That night, all 4 friends are plagued by terrifying nightmares. Luke dreams of returning to the store where his friend Rob met his tragic end. In the morning, Luke finds himself outside, disoriented with symmetrical puncture wounds on his chest, marks that look as though something had clawed or bitten him while he slept. As the others search the cabin in a growing sense of dread, they discover Phil, naked and trembling, kneeling in a trance before the grotesque effigy in the attic. Still shaken, the group ventures deeper into the forest. Hoping to get a better view, Luke climbs a nearby ridge. Alone at the top, he spots what looks like a humanoid hand clutching a distant tree. When he returns and shares what he saw, Dom is doubtful. The tension that's been simmering finally erupts. Dom lashes out, calling Luke a coward and blaming him for Rob's death. That night, Luke is ripped from sleep by blood-curdling screams. Hutch's tent lies in shreds, its occupant vanished. The group panics and rushes into the forest, but quickly loses their sense of direction. At dawn, they begin searching for him, only to make a grim discovery. Hutch's body, impaled high in a tree, eerily mirroring the elk they saw earlier. They recover his compass and knife, then bury him beneath a cover of branches. As the group continues their search for a way out of the forest, they remain unaware that something malevolent is stalking them. Luke climbs to higher ground and spots smoke rising from distant campfires, a flicker of hope in the endless wilderness. But when he rushes back to share the news, he arrives just in time to see Phil dragged screaming into the trees by a towering, shadowy figure. Panic takes hold. Luke and Dom flee blindly into the dark, crashing through underbrush until they stumble upon Phil's lifeless body, impaled high on twisted branches in a grotesque, haunting display. Shaken and exhausted, they follow a flickering, torchlit path deeper into the forest. It leads them to a remote, silent village. Inside the first cabin they find, they collapse, only to be struck down and dragged into the darkness by unseen inhabitants. They awaken bound in a dark basement. An old woman enters and inspects the wounds on Luke's chest, revealing that she bears the same mysterious markings. Without a word, she gives a command, and 2 villagers seize Dom and drag him upstairs. A younger woman arrives shortly after and calmly explains that the villagers are preparing sacrifices for a creature. Later, Dom is returned, bloodied but alive. He tells Luke that he's been chosen to die. With urgency in his voice, Dom urges Luke to escape and burn the village to ground. Dom is taken outside and tied to a post. As night falls, a guttural roar echoes through the woods, sending a shiver through the trees. The villagers immediately drop to their knees in reverence. Through the darkness, Dom sees a vision of his wife emerging from the forest. But it's a cruel deception. The creature reveals itself, towering and grotesque, its form a twisted reflection of the effigy from the cabin. It seizes Dom from the post and, without mercy, impales him on a nearby tree. Determined to survive, Luke dislocates his thumb to slip one hand free. Before he can finish untying himself, the young woman returns. When he demands answers about the creature, she calls it a Jotun, an ancient deity from Scandinavian mythology, worshipped in exchange for eternal life. Calmly, she tells him, "Submit or die." After she leaves, Luke finishes untying himself and quietly slips upstairs. From behind a locked door, he hears eerie chants and distant screams. Armed with a torch, he forces his way in and discovers a congregation of ancient mummified figures, former worshippers, granted a grotesque form of immortality, frozen in stasis. Remembering Dom's final plea, Luke raises the torch and sets them ablaze. The fire draws the Jotun out of the forest, furious and wild. It storms into the clearing and slaughters several cultists in its rage. Amid the chaos, Luke escapes the burning house, grabbing a rifle and an axe as he flees into the woods. Through the trees, he spots the creature dragging a cultist. Without hesitation, he raises the rifle and fires. The shot lands, but only enrages the monster, sparking a deadly chase. As the Jotun closes in, it floods Luke's mind with twisted visions of the robbery, memories warped to break him. When it finally catches him, it forces him to his knees, demanding submission. But Luke refuses to bow. With a surge of defiance, he strikes the creature with the axe, then turns and runs toward the rising sun to escape. At the edge of the forest, the Jotun stops, unable to cross. It lets out a furious roar that echoes through the trees. Luke stands his ground and roars back, a cry of defiance and triumph. Then he turns toward a nearby paved road, where a car glides past in the distance. A fleeting glimpse of civilization, of safety, of a world waiting beyond the wild.
If you loved this recap, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss out on more free movie recaps. Got a movie in mind that you want us to break down? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.